For our final keynote of the day, please welcome Tina Müller, CEO of Weleda. Tina will be interviewed by Bemhena, Vice President of Content of Shoptalk Luxe.
Wow, here we are, Tina. Welcome to Shoptalk Europe's main stage.
Thank you for having me. Wow, it's good to be here.
Lovely turnout. So let's dive right in. So you spent over 6 years leading German beauty retailer Douglas, where you drove triple-digit e-com growth. I'm sure when you left the business, you can't have been short of exciting opportunities. What specific aspects of Weleda's business or culture really excited you and made you want to move there?
So yes, indeed, I had the luxury to choose at the time. And then Egon Zehnder presented me this Weleda opportunity. And then something very interesting happened. I went there for the interviews, and then I visited Weleda's own garden, a healing plant garden. Weleda owns 6 gardens worldwide, where Weleda is cultivating and harvesting healing plants for the products, because the products are 100% natural cosmetics. Yeah? And I found it very fascinating, because I learned that when you have a biodynamic agriculture, and the soil's microbiome is healthy, so no pesticides, nothing, yeah, no artificial fertilizer, then the microbiome of the plants are very, very healthy, and then the microbiome of your skin, and also Weleda has pharma products, so medical products, then your inner microbiome is much healthier. And that was so fascinating for me, because we are cultivating more than 800 different plants in this garden, and then they go directly to the production in the garden, yeah, so the plants are fermented, we have extracts, and then they go into the finished and final products. So it's real. It's not like many other brands who pretend to be natural. This one is really, I could see it, and I see it every week, every month, how we cultivate that in a very, very healthy and biodynamic way. And that touched me really. And then I said, well, there is so much potential for this company, for this brand. There is a journey to go, and I love transformative jobs to really make businesses bigger. And here it's with a specific purpose, to do this in harmony with nature and the human body. And that's why I've chosen Weleda. And now it's close to 2 years I'm doing this as a CEO, and it changed me and the way I lead today as a CEO because of this very specific purpose.
Speaking of transformation, so when you joined in late 2023, you launched a new strategy based on 4 pillars, one of which was innovation, another internationalization, the third digitalization, and then premiumization. And we'll touch on a few of these in our conversation today. And this year you rebranded to Swiss Natural Science. You made a point to tell me on one of our calls that many people consider Weleda a German brand, but it is actually Swiss. I'd love to get behind the scenes on the progress and learnings so far. Let's start with the digitalization pillar first. So you grew online sales by 30% in year 1. Which 3 levers really delivered the biggest impact? Was it CX? Was it D2C partnerships? We'd love to kind of get behind that a little.
No, in a way it started differently. It started with people. Because I strongly believe that if you want to build a digital business, an e-commerce business, or also digital marketing, you need the right team. And it's also something which starts at the top. If you don't think digital as a CEO, you will never reach a certain level. So the first initiative was to hire a chief digital officer. Andrea is also here today. And she was building her team in 2 parts. So one, digital commerce, so the own D2C business and the platform businesses. And the other one is digital marketing, where we focus much more on social media marketing. And then you have this in-between now, which is very hot at the moment, the TikTok, which is a social media with checkout in a way, or social platform with checkout, and everybody, I think, is making the first experiences here. It's an interesting journey. It's not yet where everybody believed it would be, at least not in Europe, yeah. But here, I think the first thing is you need to have the right people and the right lead in this business. And then, honestly, you have to feel a bit or check which platform suits best your brand, yeah? And also, where is your age split? Weleda's age profile was pretty old, yeah? Because Weleda was not yet very digitized. So now to attracting more younger target groups, we pushed heavily then on social media. We pushed heavily the online sales, but also our own shop. And many people say today, well, don't invest too much in your own D2C business as a brand where you have omnichannel, because it's much more expensive, yeah? But in my view, it's the only channel where you really gather the data. And the data you need then to build loyal customers, the data you need to do market research for new products. So we don't deep prioritize our own D2C business.
Your social media strategy, I'd love to dig into that a little bit, because you've been phenomenally successful on TikTok and other platforms. And with your UGC, so celebs like Victoria Beckham, Hailey Bieber, Drew Barrymore, they are regularly posting about Weleda's products, and they're not being paid to do so. How do you identify, activate, and then really amplify this incredibly high ROI UGC with minimal spend?
So first of all, we are very lucky that those celebrities are posting for Weleda. We could never afford them. Yeah? So just recently, Bella Hadid posted, yeah, and she told her community that she is using 8 tubes of skin food per week. So, I mean, Drew Barrymore had a full video on Weleda, also on skin food. So what do you do with it? First of all, we are very happy about that. And I think only a real and true purpose brand can get this organic audience when influencers or celebrities are doing it without being paid by the brand. Because most of them have their own beauty brands, and still they do it for Weleda because it's a true love brand. Yeah. So what do? We try to amplify it, we try to push it, we post it on our channels, and we never got into trouble with them. Yeah. So I think because we are Weleda, they are very, very kind with us, yeah, and sometimes we can do things which others can't do. We had, during the European Football Championship, we had Mbappé. He was on the ground and he was massaged with Weleda's Arnica massage oil, and it was broadcasted worldwide per television. So we took the scene, and we posted it on all our channels, yeah, and then honestly, you see the sales skyrocketing. We see when Bella or Victoria Beckham are posting on Weleda, we see it immediately on all the platforms, even on the brick and mortar retailers. And the only thing we can do is we can push it, yeah, with paid media, and this is what we do, and that's quite successful, yeah.
I'd love to dig a little bit into, so you see a huge surge in demand based on kind of viral TikTok moments, yet your supply chain is incredibly sustainable, and you make batches of products that the herbs that you grow in your garden, and it is limited in terms of supply. How do you manage kind of planning for these unplanned potentially spikes, and when supply can't fulfill the demand, how does it feel as a CEO knowing that you're leaving money on the table?
Yeah, so that's a big challenge, I have to say, and sometimes we can't deliver. We go out of stock and we can't solve it. So it happened with the rosemary hair tonic against hair loss. It was posted on social media organically, and then we saw the sales going up and up and up, and we had no rosemary anymore. And so normally, as a brand, you would buy rosemary extracts from China, from I don't know where, no problem, you can get it on the market, but it's not our quality standard. So we have our rosemary fields in Spain, by the way, and due to the climate change in Spain, it gets hotter and hotter, and the harvest is less and less. So we had a double problem, yeah, too much sales and not enough rosemary. So we were out of stock for many months, yeah, but we suffered from it, but we, on purpose, we stayed out of stock. And then now we decided to bring a new field or a new hectare of rosemary to France in other climate conditions, yeah, and now we grow it from 1 hectare to more than 180 hectares, yeah, because we need more rosemary because the line is so successful, and now we launched also shampoo and conditioner with it. So if somebody here, and mostly we are talking men with hair loss, so if you have hair loss, go and try to find rosemary hair tonic. It will help a lot, and it also strengthens the hair, yeah. So it's really one of the magic miracle products of Weleda, yeah. It has a lot of fans and a big community, yeah.
There you go. You've heard it directly from Tina herself. The other pillar I'd love to dig into is premiumization. So you're moving Weleda further upscale rather than launching value diffusion lines, which is unusual. Usually we see it's the other way around. Why do you believe that premiumization positioning remains critical to the company's growth? Is there kind of specific customer insight that's led you to and convinced you that that's the right growth path for the brand?
So I think today the premium channels, so the selective distribution, and Douglas, I mean, I have a lot of experience in selective distribution because I was leading Douglas, and the more mass market distribution is now going, it's quite fluid now, yeah? There is not this tough line anymore between selective and non-selective. Weleda's distribution is mainly today in pharmacies, and in the German-speaking markets in the drugstores, yeah, and in some specialty trade. In US, it's in Whole Foods, for example, yeah, very much online on Amazon. And now, I think when we talk about the product quality, our quality is so precious that we might, or we believe that the step into the selective distribution is not a big step, because also in the drugstore business, we are already at the highest price level. So the distance to selective is not far. And when we launched last year, under this new claim, Swiss Natural Science, our very first anti-aging line, so with Blue Gentian and Edelweiss, we had a great success, yeah? And that brought Weleda also to a completely different sales level. And so we are now focusing on skincare, and we are focusing on longevity. Because when you look at the demography in the markets, yeah, now, I mean, we have this huge community of older and elder getting people, which are very keen on longevity, because we all want to stay young from our outer appearance and young inside, yeah, because longevity has something to do with inner health and outer beauty, yeah. So we are focusing very much on this consumer insight, and we are launching now in autumn in the selective distribution in the perfumery channels a new skincare line focused on cell longevity with a super new innovation under the Swiss Natural Science. Because our labs are in Switzerland, this is where we formulate and this is where we create our formulas. And that's why the Swissness of this brand, we know that people love Swiss quality, because when you hear Swiss quality, for most of the consumers, it's one level up. And it is also connected to nature. And nature is what our formulas stand for, and so it's a very nice combination. We had all the listing talks already, so we will be distributed very widely into the perfumery channels. And you are right, it's one of the rare cases where you come bottom up to luxury, to premium. And we want to prove that this is possible. Yeah.
Really, really exciting. So we'll keep an eye out for that launch. I know you have another really exciting launch coming up later in the year, including a Swedish royal family collaboration. Can you share, how did that collaboration come about, and how do you plan to measure its success?
Yeah, that was falling from the heaven. Yeah, so Princess Madeleine from Sweden contacted me. And she was living in the US for quite a while. And in the US, you have one new development, or not so new anymore. It's called the Sephora Kids, yeah? So it's the young girls, and they are already having a beauty routine of 8 to 10 steps. And often they tap into the anti-aging cream of their mothers, yeah? And that's not good for their skin barrier. So they use a lot of products which are not made for their age. And so her idea was to launch a line, yeah, under her name, but in cooperation with somebody who could do it with her, for babies, and then young girls, teens, twins, yeah. So she contacted me because she said, well, I want to have the best quality, and that's why I want to talk to Weleda. And then since a year and a half, we worked on this line, and this line will appear in the stores in September. And we are very much looking forward to it because it's a very modern, trendy, Scandinavian style line endorsed by her, and it's a real joint venture. And she was the brand manager on this project, and she has a very entrepreneurial gut feeling and a good experience in beauty. And so I think it can work, and we will do a lot to make it work. Yeah.
How are you thinking about how you're going to be measuring the success? Are there specific KPIs, metrics that you've got in place as you're kind of thinking about how to measure it?
Yeah, so first of all, the first KPI for the new launches is distribution. Get the right distribution. Online it's much easier, yeah, but also in brick and mortar, get the right distribution. Then sales, yeah, for sure, yeah. We have in our mind a certain sales level. Repurchase. Repurchase is enormously important, and then all the metrics in the e-commerce field, yeah, which views, conversion rate, etc. So we have a huge dashboard which we measure, and then for me, you know, digital is really on the fly. It's trial and error, see what works, and then push what works. Yeah, content creation is massive today. That's why we created a digital lab, yeah, where we have our own content factory. Because in some markets, we are already doing 50% of our sales in digital. So UK, for example, we say 50% on the digital channels. Yeah, so for Weleda, digital is most probably the future in terms of growth, and we want to grow the business. I mean, we are heading to 500 million now, 500 million this year, and when I started, I said, well, we want to double it, yeah, so soon, hopefully, we are heading to the 800, and then at one moment in time, we want to make it a billion brand. And this brand deserves to be a billion brand, because it is so purposeful and the quality is so high. When I started, and I spent 25 years in the cosmetic industry, and I was looking at the cost of goods. Every brand manager in fast-moving consumer goods knows cost of goods are key, and many try to get the cost of goods down. That's forbidden from the Weleda non-executive board, because quality was never touched. Skin Foods, the formula, is still the formula of the founders of Weleda, of Dr. Ita Wegmann at the time. She launched this formula. It never changed, yeah? So can you imagine one cosmetic product which never changed since 100 years, the formula? I don't know many of them. And that's the, you know, that's the purpose of Weleda. And I discovered that it makes so much more fun, deeper fun, to work for such a brand. Yeah.
Super fascinating. We are getting close to time now. This has been a fascinating conversation. Thank you very, very much. I would love to end just by reading out a couple of lines that you recently said. I think it ties up and really summarizes our conversation really neatly. So you recently said, renewal and preservation are our watchwords. A brand that fails to move with the time will fail in time. Tina, thank you so much.
That's why we changed it, yeah. Okay.
Lovely. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.